Hi, Gold Derbyites. Welcome to another edition of Awards Magnet. I'm Deputy Editor Ethan Alter. I'm here with the dynamic duo of senior editors Denton Davidson and Marcus James Dixon. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back.
Yes, you viewers and listeners saw our faces and heard our voices last week in the immediate aftermath of the Emmy nominations, and we were all dealing with the fallout, the ramifications. We had our emergency pod talking through instant reactions to what had just transpired. But now it's been a week. We've had time to process. We've had time to relax, have a few beers, take some breathers, and to really consider the state of the race going forward, which is nice to have. Having at that time, gentlemen, how are your feelings right now? 1 week in, any top level thoughts about what's transpired this past week?
I mean, I don't have feelings. I feel like I'm feeling pretty good. I think that in retrospect, I mean, it is surprising still to me how well the studio has done, and I think that was kind of the big shock to me. As I was waiting to see if they would be receptive to that show, and then clearly they are. So I think that's going to be a really interesting race with Hacks. So that's still kind of the one that stands out for me. But, there's no great big travesty here.
As much as I loved Shogun last year, I'm excited that there's going to be so many new winners in the drama categories. Severance is a season 2 show, but it didn't win much in season 1. It only won 2. So we're going to see a lot of first-time winners, at least on the drama side.
Yeah, no, that'll be exciting to see. And it is interesting to note, it's after that initial wave of reactions from people when they talk about how excited they are to be nominated. We were publishing a lot of them on Gold Derby. It's been sort of quiet on that front. So, but we are going to start to see phase 2 of the campaign, I think, really start to pick up in the next few weeks as people start making the rounds and start giving interviews to places. So I guess I should ask for both of you, who are you most excited to see start making the round? I'm looking forward to the Kathy Bates press tour. I can't wait to see where she pops up and what she has to say. She's always great with quotes. Marcus, you hoping to
Dan, should we tell him who was in our office today? It's kind of breaking news. Julianne Nicholson, 2-time nominee for Hacks and for Paradise, was wandering around the Penske building where the Gold Derby offices are doing interviews. So she's out there making the rounds. She's definitely going to win for Hacks. Like, we all think that's going to happen. Maybe not so much for Paradise, but hey, 1 out of 2 is not too bad.
And I'm excited just to see some of my favorite shows. I'm excited to see the studio, get into the studio, like where are we going to see them? What are they talking about? And then also some of my favorite actors from The Penguin, and seeing how they're able to take on adolescence. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, how that race is going to pan out. That's exciting.
And your favorite person alive is Jeff Hiller, right? Are you going to interview him, Denton?
I do. I am. I'm so excited. Somebody somewhere finally got their first Emmy nominations. They have 2 nominations, one for writing and one for Jeff Hiller, and that is in the works. So we'll look forward to that as well.
Yeah, they got that final season bump. Unlike Handmaid's Tale and some of the other shows, Somebody somewhere got recognized on its way out the door, which is wonderful. And especially you get to run point on that since you've been a big booster for that show all along. So yeah, that would be something for everyone to look forward to.
I've earned that. I've been pumping that show along all season.
Right. Exactly. So it's appropriate that I'll know that their exit interview is with you. That's what everyone should be on the lookout for. Well, we're going to jump into some of the big narratives surrounding each of the races over the course of the show. But just as a quick sort of top line, the big news of the week was obviously Stephen Colbert being axed from CBS. They sprung that news on everyone last Thursday night. Colbert delivered the news he'd only learned the day before and told everyone, and that's been it's had Hollywood just obsessed talking about the future of late night television ever since. And we've all talked about in different ways. Den, you wrote a great piece about late night, the Late Show's Emmy history. What should people who are just tuning into the story be aware about how Late Show has its Emmy history over the 30 years since the David Letterman era?
I mean, the interesting thing about it is it has won 0 Emmys with Stephen Colbert as host. And that's the big question is now, will this news change that? Is this going to push voters in his direction? Because it did win a number of Emmys with David Letterman as host. It was much more successful in that realm. But that was also before The Daily Show and like this new generation of late night came along last week tonight. So it's going to be an interesting race to watch now. Whereas before, we sort of assumed The Daily Show was going to walk away with it. But now, I don't know. I know some people disagree with me. I don't think voters are that sentimental. I'm still not sold that he's going to actually win this. But Marcus, I know you feel passionately differently than I do.
I feel very strongly about this, that The Daily Show would have won, up until a week ago. But after this news, I don't think it's really that voters are being sentimental because The Late Show is going off the airwaves. It's how it happened. I think there's going to be a lot of angry voters out there that are going to mark down Late Show with Stephen Colbert for the first time as a winner on their ballots. Because like you said, this show has never won. The David Letterman version won all the time, kind of like in the pre-Jon Stewart era. But I think it's going to happen. And I switched my prediction that Thursday night when he got canceled. And I see some other experts and editors maybe joining me in believing this.
Ethan, on that note, if they're pissed, they're also going to, hand another Emmy to Paramount, who they're pissed at. So,
well, that is true. That's the catch-22 of that. Like, do you want to award Colbert and by extension the Paramount Global as a hand over to Skydance and give them an Emmy put in Skydance's closet right away?
Yeah. But it is the producers on the show that are going to win. It's not
right.
Paramount itself does not win it.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I tend to sort of lean Denton's way. I think I'm not convinced that it's going to win that he's going to be the martyr and win as a result of stepping away. It could happen, but at the same time, Jon Stewart still also has been a firebrand as well and talking openly about Paramount. And at least now for the foreseeable future, seems like he's hanging around. So that would be another way to sort of acknowledge Colbert while also sort of giving the award to someone who consistently wins and who voters seem to like ticking the box for. So, but it certainly would be quite a protest vote if Colbert winds up winning on September 14th. So, yeah.
And these late night hosts are very friendly with each other. It's not like the old Leno versus Letterman sort of rivalry. They're all sort of pals. They've commented on social media about Colbert's show being nixed. So, there's not going to be any nasty campaigning, I don't think.
Exactly. No one's looking to take advantage of Colbert's situation, for sure. Right. Yeah. And something that I found interesting that I wrote about on the site this week is just about how the Emmy nominations in a way sort of presage where the best talk series specifically is going, how the declining number of late night nominees overall has really impacted that category. We've seen fewer nominations overall. This year, there are only 3 shows nominated. And as a result, Seth Meyers, for example, who was a reliable nominee, got left out in the cold. And that doesn't signal well for his future.
Seth was out there campaigning a lot. I think he really, really wanted this nomination. And then the news came down that there would only be 3 in this category. And I think if there had been 4, I think he maybe could have gotten in. But the third one is Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel gets nominated every year in this category. He's never won. And by the way, Jon Stewart is a producer on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. So Jon Stewart has 2 nominations as a producer in this specific category, the other one being The Daily Show. So I could even see Jon Stewart being like, hey, voters, let's give it to Colbert this time. And John would still win, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Again, either way, whoever loses, he wins that way, for sure. Right. And certainly one thing to keep an eye on that will be interesting as the broadcast shows continue to go away. Certainly another one will leave soon. One of the things we saw in terms of submissions this year was shows like Hot Ones on YouTube, Everyone's Lives with John Mulaney on Netflix. Those are trying to rush in and sort of fill the void in that category. But it seems like voters aren't completely receptive to them just yet for whatever reason. They still like their broadcast and cable late night shows. That's what in their mind what a talk series looks like. So it'll be interesting to see when that shift happens, because it will, especially as these shows keep going away, what comes in to fill the void, and do we see a Hot Ones in the next 3 years get nominated for that guy?
And Colbert could still win this next year too, because he's going to be on the air till May 2026. And you remember when Anthony Bourdain passed away, his show, I think, won twice after he died, because sometimes voters are sentimental in that respect.
I think Hot Ones is ahead of the curve. I think that most people get the content from late shows on YouTube. And, that might be the way that they go if this trend continues. And at what point in a category when there's 2 or 3 nominees, do we have to start wrapping those shows into a different category, combining something? It's at some point there's going to be one nominee and a guaranteed winner. So it's just, there has to be some sort of shift. So I don't know when that's going to happen or how, but yeah, it's obnoxious to have 2 and 3 nominees.
And Marcus, and speaking of exit interviews, I do think that like next year I could actually see Colbert winning on his way out the door. That's if he doesn't get it this year, then next year is like his grand farewell. Here's your Emmy, and that would be that I could definitely get behind for sure. Well, let's quickly before we move on to the main conversation, I wanted to quickly do a quick check in on the forums and what people are talking about on the Gold Derby forums, and we definitely had some people commenting on the Colbert situation. Vinny in the forums writes that he says that CBS screwed the pooch here, caving to Trump, assuming that this is a political move on his part, and now they're going to pay the price with ratings too. So that's Vinny's take on that. And then another forum comment that sets up what we're talking about, which will be we're going to dive into comedy first. The smart one in the forums is talking about Abbott Elementary and what they're hoping for that campaign to start. And they write, "I need Quinta Brunson and Janelle James to start this Emmy campaign. It's now or never for Janelle, and with the right campaign, it could happen. Get these shows and appearances booked ASAP." So that's their take. They want the campaigning season to start already. So Janelle should come by Gold Derby. We're ready. Just let's get her in the building.
And imagine what a Janelle speech would look like at the Emmys. It would just go viral. I would love for that to happen. I would also love Hannah Einbinder to win in that category as well. Just saying.
Yeah, they both deserve to at this point. Remember when Abbott Elementary started? Before Cheryl Lee Ralph won that Emmy, people were shocked. I mean, Janelle James was always ahead of her in the odds. I mean, she was the assumed frontrunner to win that Emmy, and then Cheryl Lee Ralph came along and just snatched it away. So Janelle still hasn't won.
I love when she sang her speech.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we start the campaign, like the smart one saying, start that campaign. Well, for any forum folks watching and just people watching and listening, we have a new email address for you to send all your questions and comments to, and we're going to bank them for future mailbag episodes. And that new email address is awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. Again, awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. So please send us your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and we will keep them in mind for future mailbag episodes as Emmy season unfolds.
Well, I found an extra forum quote if we wanted to do one more.
Please.
This person, Carlo, is watching The Gilded Age season 3, which I'm also watching and loving.
Thanks.
And they say, Tessa Farmiga is great, but Carrie Coon, who did not fully convince me in the first 2 seasons, is simply amazing. Christine Baranski is a delightful one-liner as always, but she needed more meaty material. So iffy on Baranski, but thumbs up for Coon.
Agree. It's been a good season for Coon, and I like this season. This might be their strongest season overall. I'm all in on the clock storyline. I'm all about the clock. Want to see the clock. I want to see the clock take off and be a bestseller. That's what I'm invested in right now. All right, we're going to dive into the comedy category, and we're going to talk about 3 big comedy narratives that are dominating the conversation right now. And Denton, you alluded to this earlier, and that's the studio versus hacks, which is the major battle we're seeing play out in comedy, especially with comedy series and the acting categories, and also writing, directing. But let's sort of focus on the comedy series to start out with. Where do you tend to fall? It looks like the studio's ahead in our odds for sure. But is Hacks going to come from behind in this case?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the studio. And I mean, just the number of nominations that it received, it was just so overwhelming and surprising, especially when you look at those acting categories. And Hacks did very well, but I mean, they didn't get in with Paul W. Downs like they expected. So there's definitely some things that Hacks missed that are a little telling to me of where it stands overall. I still think it's close. But I'm leaning towards the studio in that main comedy series race at this point.
How about yourself, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, the studio, 23 nominations, the most ever for a first-time comedy series, which is incredible. It beat Ted Lasso's record from a couple years ago. I think it's the studio. Like Denton said, Hacks missed some important nominations. It missed Paul W. Downs and Megan Stalter. I think she should have got nominated for supporting actress. This was her season. Christopher McDonald didn't get back in for guest. So there are some important misses there, whereas the studio way overperformed. I mean, 5 of the 6 guest actors are from the studio. That's just incredible. That means the voters not just watch the show, they are loving the show.
Absolutely. It does seem like Hacks, certainly it has the corner on Best Actress where Jean Smart is nominated, no one from the studio. And so far it looks like in Comedy Supporting Actress, Hannah Einbender is leading there in our odds as well. Do you think there is a chance for Catherine O'Hara to upset, though, based on the studio's strength? Or is Hannah more or less confirmed?
I would never be comfortable with Catherine O'Hara in my category. So I don't think Hannah Einbender, who has been predicted to win before, is feeling overconfident by any stretch. I think she's well aware she can lose and has before. I think there's so much hope for her because she deserves it. But I really do think this is a season where I think Hacks will win like all female acting categories. I think it'll be Smart, Einbinder, and then Julianne Nicholson for guest. And then on the studio, all the men from the studio will win. Rogan, although that's more iffy. And then Ike and Cranston. My mind's frying thinking of all these names, but
Jack, right.
I think that's how we're gonna see it split. And then comedy series, and then the writing and directing, that could be up for grabs as well. So it's gonna be those two though.
Certainly, it seems like the oneer is a shoo-in for directing, just based on the complication. Everyone loves a good oneer, and that was a great oneer, and it's a great example of what the show does well, commenting on itself and being meta, while also just being really funny on its own terms. So that seems to have that down. But writing could easily go Hacks' way, and they split difference in that regard.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Best Actor category and who's up there, obviously the Seth Rogen is right now in fourth place on our odds, and leading still is Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, which seems like their best shot at, and it would be his first win in this category. He won for SAG earlier this year and had COVID, so was able to accept. So it would be a sort of a makeup acceptance for that. Is there any chance that he loses, or is this his year finally? He hasn't won for this role yet. Everyone loves him. What do we think? Any chance that someone else steals it away from him?
I mean, I think it's those two, Martin Short or Seth Rogen. And, Martin Short is very interesting because Only Murders in the Building really underperformed this year, but he still got it. I mean, there's no Steve Martin, there's no Selena Gomez, there's no guest acting. It's just Martin. So if there's anywhere for these voters, these fans of Only Murders to rally around, it's this category. I think, maybe some below the line ones, but above the line, if it doesn't win this, it's probably not going to win much that night. And I really want to see Martin Short win a serious Emmy. I know he has a couple for other projects, but never like this level of gravitas for him. This is his best season ever. Season 4 was my favorite season. I know you had issues with it, but he does the physical humor. He marries Meryl Streep. He figures out who the murderer is.
On the show, not in real life yet, just on the show.
Not yet. That'll be in the future. Right. But after the SAG win, I mean, this is totally possible that he could pull this off. But then there's Seth Rogen. It's a coin flip, I feel like, on Emmy night. I don't know what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm going to stick with Martin Short, I think.
I think it would be great to see Martin Short win an Emmy here, but I feel sort of like his SAG award win was more showing the weakness of The Bear at the time than necessarily the strength of Only Murders compared to some of these other shows. I mean, it did win ensemble as well, so we know the actors loved it, but the acting branch didn't really come through in that way here. They came through for the studio. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Seth Rogen has the edge just based on the strength of the show. But Seth Rogen's not always thought of as, an awards sort of caliber actor. So are they gonna go that route with him? Are they ready to lift him up and say, yes, you are worthy of awards? That's to be seen. Because if that's not the case, then it will be Martin Short.
Yeah, that's sort of where I fall. I'm not sure that Seth Rogen has ever really been an acting kind of award winner. Certainly writing, yes. Directing, yes. But yeah, acting is off. Same with, I know Jeremy Allen has won before, but it seems like he's basically preparing for his Bruce Springsteen Oscar run. So I don't know how much he's going to be involved in this particular one, in this particular race, or how much you care. So I think Martin Short feels like if he's going to win something, this is the right time for him to do it. And he had a great season. Even if it wasn't my favorite Only Murder season, he was consistently funny throughout this season. So it would be a good year for him to win.
And Seth Rogen, he could end up winning 4 Emmys because he's the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor. I mean, he could Sean Baker his way from 0 to 4 and have that photo holding all of them like Beyonce. I mean, that could very realistically happen on September.
Love it. South Rogan and Beyonce mentioned the first sentence in the same sentence for the first time ever. I love it. Well, let's talk about another movie star who may win something this year, and that's Harrison Ford, obviously, who is up for Shrinking. He is currently leading our odds right now. He's been nominated once for an Oscar for Witness, didn't win. He lost to William Hurt for Kiss of the Spider-Woman that year. A hard Oscar to argue against because Hurt's wonderful in that movie, but Ford's never won anything. So this was, again, a chance to honor a Hollywood legend and who's very good on Shrinking. Had a great season with season 2, and is just he's a curmudgeon, but people love him as an industry veteran. So do we think he's going to stay on top heading into the final stretch?
I think so. I mean, he's also making the rounds. He is in our Penske office today. I don't know if he's with Julianne Nicholson or they just, they took different Ubers, I think. But it's wild to me that he was not nominated for season 1 of Shrinking. I don't know what happened there, because they did nominate Jessica Williams in supporting actress. So that they watched the show. That blew my mind. But here we are, 2 or 3 years later. He is nominated. He's leading our odds. And I think he's going to pull it off. Not only is he doing interviews, but he met voters too. There was an FYC event back in May or June. All the months kind of meld together in my brain. But he met with voters, shook their hands. It was kind of like a set visit for the voters visiting the Shrinking sets. And he was very warm and kind and friendly. And back then, I'm like, oh, he's probably going to win. But his hardest thing will be getting nominated because of that snub in season 1. But now that he's nominated, I think it's lock it in, folks.
I don't think so. I think Ike Barinholtz is locking it in. I mean, this is the guy who is the standout performance on the studio, in my opinion. I mean, he has the making of every type of person who's won this category multiple times. He is the center of attention in every scene he's in, and this is the number 1 comedy in terms of how many nominations they have. Shrinking is just a small little shrinking thing. So I think they're going to really struggle. It is Harrison Ford, and that's what he has going for him is his legacy. But again, I don't think that necessarily is going to come into play in this case, and it could be close. I have Harrison in second place, but I still think Ike Barinholtz is the front runner here.
Well, Apple TV Plus again wins either way, so they'll be happy. It'll be an Apple TV Plus win, whoever wins.
Well, I wonder what Apple, like if we got Apple in a room and said, "Who do you want to win this category?" I wonder who they would say. They're probably like, "I don't care as long as I win."
Right. I feel like they might go forward because they do like, again, they like being associated with, not that Ike Barinholtz isn't A-list talent too, but Ford is, again, a Hollywood legend and A-list, so it speaks to their strategy. But
Ford has always been like overlooked with awards. I mean, they won't even give him the honorary Oscar yet. I mean, year after year, he just keeps getting looked over for everything he's done for film and television. So, I mean, he just isn't pulling that awards weight that he deserves, and that's too bad. But we'll see. This could be his year to finally get an Emmy. His first nomination, first win. We'll see.
Yeah. And Shrinking has 7 total nominations. This is probably its best shot. So I don't want it to go 0 for 7. I want it to win something. I love this show.
Yeah. It would be great to have Ford recognized. So we'll throw him the Emmy and he'll toss us the Oscar. That'll be the way it goes.
Also, sweeps are so boring. I'm talking myself out of Ike now, even though I love Ike. But it's just like when the shows just keep winning everything, it's just kind of like, okay, like it is fun. It would be fun to see different shows at least getting wins in different categories.
Well, let's move on to the drama category. We have another one of the big narratives there. Another head-to-head is Severance versus the Pitt. And certainly that's while Severance most likely seems to be leading the acting nominations, except with the exception of Noah Wiley. I think certainly drama series, it seems like a very, very close race there. So what are our thoughts on what's on Severance and the Pitt? And they're almost dead even in our odds right now. So where do you both fall on that battle?
So yeah, this one's very interesting because the experts at Gold Derby think the Pitt is winning, but the editors and the users think Severance is winning. So there is this split, but it's still early. We still have, about a month to go before voting ends. So anything could happen. I'm personally going with the Pitt. I think it's got that throwback nostalgia feel. for a drama series of yesteryear. It's the medical show. It's got Noah Wyle, and it's very, very accessible. It's Severance is great, but you can't just tune into Severance and understand what's going on. The Pitt, you can. So I think all of those reasons are going to push it over the edge. But if Severance wins, I'm going to be like, yeah, I totally see that. I'm not surprised at all.
I have no idea. I think this is one of the toughest things to predict. My issue with Severance is that is its prior loss. So like we know it has had issues before, but then on the other end, it has the most nominations. So, and how often does the most nominations end up winning the award? It doesn't always matter. And then we also have the fact that the Pitt isn't nominated in some of the key categories. We've discussed before that it didn't get an editing nomination, and I know that rule is not as hard and fast with the Emmys as it is with the Oscars. I mean, when that happens at the Oscars, everyone's like, "Oh, hold on, like this, not a Best Picture contender." Not the case so much in a drama series, but what I'm really looking at was the acting nominations, and they were pretty even, other than the supporting actor, where Severance got in a couple surprises like Zach Cherry, and the Pitt failed to get any supporting actor nomination in. So that's like the only edge I can see, like the acting branch at least favoring Severance a little bit. So I'm leaning towards Severance at the moment.
One thing I would say to that, I mean, you're not wrong, but remember when Homeland won, and it was not supposed to win. I think, was that the Stranger Things year? I can't remember what it was up against, but when Homeland won, everyone's like, how did that happen? Mandy Patinkin even got snubbed that year. They had 2 acting nominations, the 2 leads, and that was it. And it still was able to pull out the Best Drama Series victory. So I don't want us to pay too much attention to like the acting branch loves this show. Because the nominations are different than the wins.
It's just wild to me to think that Homeland and Stranger Things were even nominated at the same time. That just shows you how long Stranger Things has been on the air. It feels like they really shouldn't be concurrent, but they were. So yeah, no, that's crazy.
I mean, it's a toss-up. I mean, this could go either way. I could totally see the Pitt winning. I have Severance ahead right now, but I have no idea in this race. I need more time.
Right.
And Stranger Things has been off the air so long. We've had 4 seasons of The Bear in that time. That blows my mind.
It's insane. It's crazy. Yeah, I tend to think on the I can see the Pitt winning mainly for Noah Wyle, and that's their big win and it's a comeback for him. It was originally supposed to be an ER spinoff, wound up becoming this new show, and people love him. It's a return for him. And then Severance wins original series and directing and writing, since that's such a directing heavy show. Especially, it seems like that has that so it's sort of where I lean right now. But I could easily see it flipping to your point, Marcus, and just celebrating a show that's a little less intensive continuity wise. You can just sit down. It's a return to broadcast television just on a stream.
Yeah.
So there is something to that for sure. Well, speaking of broadcast television, again, speaking of someone who seems unstoppable right now, Kathy Bates in Matlock. She's clearly dominating our odds. It's hard to think of anyone who could catch her. Is this race basically over? Is Kathy Bates walking away with this case closed?
Yes. I think so. Yeah. I mean,
I don't think anyone would be mad to see Kathy Bates win this, and I don't think there's a strong second place. I think it looks like Britt Lauer's in second place right now. I know for most of the season leading up to this, Bella Ramsey was, and then Kerry Russell, and then Sharon Horgan nominated again. She was sort of a surprise, so I think she's sort of definitely the dark horse here. But unless there's just a massive Severance sweep across everything, then Kathy Bates has this locked up.
I mean, Bella Ramsey had an amazing season. It was all about Ellie, especially after what happened to Pedro's character. But I mean, Kathy Bates, come on. Aren't you already picturing the standing ovation that she's going to get
Exactly.
when she wins?
Yep. And like I said, her press tour is going to be great. We know she's going to be giving great quotes for the next month or so. So yeah, no, I think people are eager to see her take that stage and give her grand speech at the Emmys. And it goes along with her Oscar as well. So she'll have an Emmy to put alongside her.
Yeah,
Oscar.
And she has a guest Emmy for 2.5 Men, and she has a supporting Emmy for American Horror Story, but she doesn't have the lead yet. Let's get her that lead Emmy.
There we go. Exactly. Excellent. All right. Well, let's move on to our last narrative, and it's really only one, and then limited series, and that's the Penguin versus Adolescents, Denton, as you said earlier, which is going to be a really fascinating race. So, tell us what it is about this race that you're really hooked on. What's driving your interest?
I mean, they're just such vastly different shows, and they're so great in their own way. So it's just a fun matchup. I think we've come to expect that Adolescents is probably going to take the limited series win. It just seems set up for that. But the Penguin has excelled in acting, and it actually has the most nominations of any of the limited series. So the Penguin is going to do very well as well. I think Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti are both set up really well to be taking home Emmys this year. So I'm excited for that. And I think Adolescents wins series and supporting actor, and Penguin wins actor and actress.
I agree 100% that the Penguin is going to win both leads and lose series. And I wonder, how often does that happen in Emmy history? I mean, usually if you win both leads, you're also taking series. Homeland is an example. But I would have to look back, because I'm very curious to see how often that happens, because I'm predicting that. I think that's a safe bet that Colin Farrell and Kristen Milioti are both winning that. And then for supporting, I mean, Owen Cooper, I mean, come on, he's the star of the year. And Erin Doherty is leading the odds, but that's a tough one. I don't think she's as locked in as everyone seems to think for supporting actress.
Well, one of the things I know we talked about in the immediate aftermath on our emergency pod was whether or not Michelle Williams sneaks in and takes us away from Milioti. Do we think that's still possible, or it sounds like just the Penguin of it all is going to put this in her column?
I think it's absolutely still possible. I don't think Kristen is feeling safe, and she's lost a couple of the awards, not to Michelle. So Michelle's coming in at the end of the season, or this is like the beginning of Michelle's campaign and the end of Kristen's. So they're sort of swapping years, but it's going to be close. I think it is to Kristen's benefit, though, that the Penguin was so much more well received than Dying for Sex. Dying for Sex did well. It's got some nice nominations as well.
But yeah, I do think it's safe to say that Colin Farrell, again, another movie star leading, he basically has us on lock. So that's clear. And
he swept the whole award season.
Exactly.
And Deirdre O'Connell for the Penguin for supporting actress, don't count her out. I mean, she's going to give Erin Doherty a run for her money as well, along with Jenny Slate and Dying for Sex. Those are our top three in the odds right now. So I think any one of those three could pull it off.
I agree about Deirdre O'Connell. She's been acting for a long time. She's one of those character actresses that you're like, I loved her in that. She was in my favorite movie of all time, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. She had maybe 2 minutes of screen time, and she stole the whole movie. So she is definitely someone to watch out for.
She's a scene stealer in the Penguin as well. She's got some great moments.
Yeah, she does. If these two adolescent supporting actresses, the other one's Christine Tremarco, if they cancel each other out, I mean, it's possible that Deirdre could win that.
Yeah, she's terrific in the series finale of the Penguin, especially that when we see that performance of that in that episode, could easily vault her into the top for sure. I think that's that. But it's interesting too, because both Adolescents and the Penguin, at least at this point, really are true limited series in that they don't seem like they're coming back. The Penguin, Colin Farrell has said, I don't want to do this again. We'll see if Kristen gets her own spin-off series.
I mean, they've kind of teased. They're like, if the script is good enough, I mean, that could be like 5 years from now. Like, it's definitely not going to be an annual thing.
Right. No, for sure. And Adolescents could come back, and I think they said, if anything, it could potentially be an anthology series, and it's not the same. It tells a different story, and they just use the title. So in that case, we would be a few years away from now, and we could see it again in limited series, but it would be its own standalone season. This particular one that went super viral for Netflix. It's one of their most successful shows ever, which is really amazing to think, considering some of the heavy hitters they've had for the show to come out of nowhere. You have to think that Netflix is saying, okay, what can we do? How can we bring this back in some form? Because they really found huge success with it.
They just keep getting surprises. I mean,
if they do bring it back, they better stick to the oneer aspect of it, where each episode's filmed as a one take. I think that's the hook that they have to keep bringing back. They could switch the story, switch the actors, but that has to stay.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's where we stand right now. Those are some of the big narratives. More will emerge over the next month, I'm sure. Final round voting for the Emmys starts August 18th and runs through the 27th. So there's a lot more to come. We're going to have a lot of interviews on Gold Derby, a lot of more analysis to come as the races change. I do wonder, I was thinking if there's any other sort of bold, wild predictions for things that could happen to shake things up or change things along the lines of Colbert announcing. And certainly one of the things that came to mind was Jon Stewart announcing on The Daily Show, by the way, I'm done, see you later, and walking off stage, dropping the mic. The other one that would be interesting, and this is a different category we did talk about, but if sticking with CBS, if Amazing Race winds up shutting down, if they decide, okay, that show's too expensive at this point, and this winds up being there, they probably have one in the can, but this winds up being one of the last seasons. So those are some of the sort of predictions I have. Is there any sort of news you see or prediction you want to make about news that could break over the next month before the voting kicks in?
I mean, I would be fascinated for the Amazing Race if that ever happened, because I feel like they have like 4 or 5 seasons in the can all the time. So they're like, we filmed this one 3 years ago. Let's just air it this season, and like we'll swap it. Like this goes with the Christmas thing. I don't know what they're thinking, but I mean, they always have something in the can over there, and that has been such a long running show that has gone through so many trials and tribulations. That would be sad to lose that.
I do wonder how long RuPaul is going to stay on Drag Race, because I mean, eventually he's going to retire. And I think Drag Race will stick around, maybe without the RuPaul in the name, but maybe, hopefully we still have a lot of time left with RuPaul.
Do you feel like they're pushing Michelle to be?
Michelle would be
host?
The obvious replacement, especially because the Australia version, RuPaul retired from that last year and Michelle took over.
And she represents them during the campaigning a lot. Like RuPaul doesn't campaign much. He doesn't like to really, at least, get out and speak a lot. You'll see like him in the DJ booth at a roller skating event, but he's not the one that wants to be in the room shaking everyone's hands. I think he just
he could graduate to producer status, still get the still get the reflected glory, but not have to be on the show every week, or
just collect the check.
There we go. That sounds right. Let's all just collect the check. I think that's the mantra going forward for all of us. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Thanks for joining. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Stay tuned for more Awards Magnet to come. And again, please send questions to our new email address, awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. Again, that's awardsmagnet@goldderby.com. We want to hear your thoughts, your questions, your comments, and we will bank them for future mailbag episodes as we approach the finish line of the Emmy season. Thanks again, and take care. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news, and email us at awardsmagnet@goldderby.com.